I walked out of the house with the right carry pistol on my belt, and by midday, I already wanted it off. Nothing was wrong with it. Shot great, felt solid. The kind of gun people swear by. Didn't matter. I was sitting in my truck, adjusting it again, checking my shirt in the mirror. Then I caught the grip printing harder than I thought. Just enough where someone could notice if they looked twice. Now I'm shifting, pulling my shirt down, acting normal when I'm not. And the worst part, this wasn't new. Different pistols, same problem. Guns that made perfect sense at the range turned into daily annoyances I couldn't ignore. That's when it clicked. The issue wasn't bad guns, it was carry. A real everyday carry pistol doesn't just shoot well, it survives real life. So I stopped chasing best and paid attention to what I actually kept carrying. These 7 stuck, and one of them finally made me stop switching. I didn't even plan to carry that day. And somehow, that's exactly why the Ruger LCP MAX ended up in my pocket. Last week, it was one of those Texas days where everything feels like too much. Running errands, in and out of the truck, not thinking about the range, just real life. And the idea of strapping on a proper carry gun, belt, holster, weight pulling at you all day, it felt like work. So I stood there for a second, knowing I shouldn't leave without something. And I almost did anyway. At the last second, I grabbed the LCP MAX and dropped it in my front pocket. No setup, no thought. A couple hours later, I realized something. I hadn't touched it once. No adjusting, no checking my shirt, no grip digging in when I sat down, no quiet paranoia when someone walked by. It just disappeared. And that's the part that matters, because the gun you leave at home doesn't matter. Comfort decides what actually gets carried. This isn't the gun I shoot best. Small grip, snappy recoil. It's not something you want to train with for long. And you feel that trade-off the moment you try to push it. But it solves the problem most people won't admit. Some days, carrying anything feels like a chore. And this is the one that still ends up on you when everything else stays behind. PSA Dagger Micro was sitting on the counter in this small shop outside Austin. Old Texas town, quiet, just killing time after Easter before heading back. I wasn't even there for it, just ammo. And I saw the tag, $379, same slim micro compact profile as guns that cost almost double, but priced like it didn't belong in the same conversation. And usually, guns in that range feel exactly how you expect. Cheap controls, gritty triggers, frames that don't feel finished. This one didn't. I picked it up expecting to put it right back down, and it didn't give me a reason to. Better ergonomics, cleaner machining, the kind of details you usually don't see unless you're spending a lot more. So now I was standing there, turning it over, not impressed, just confused, thinking about what it would actually be like to carry this every day instead of something twice the price. Slim enough to hide, light enough not to fight me, and familiar enough that I wasn't changing my whole carry setup around it. That's what made me buy it, not trust. I walked out knowing it still had to prove itself. Same as any gun that ends up on my belt. Because price doesn't decide what gets carried. And the Dagger Micro isn't the pistol I tell someone to trust blindly. It's the one I tell them to test hard. Because if your copy proves itself, the value gets uncomfortable fast. And what came after this didn't make that decision any easier. Warm day, thin shirt, walking through stores, sitting down for lunch, reaching for my wallet. The kind of day where most carry guns start getting on your nerves fast, digging into your side, pulling on your belt, making you check your shirt like you're hiding something. The FN Reflex didn't do that. It just sat there. Light enough, flat enough, easy to forget about. I went through half the day without adjusting it once. No second thought, no constant awareness. And that's where it gets tricky, because for a minute, it feels like you found the answer. Small, comfortable, still feels like a real gun. But later on, when I actually paid attention to it, grip, control, just handling it a little more deliberately, that's when it showed itself. Not bad, just not as easy as it felt at first. Small guns always make you pay somewhere. With the Reflex, it's right there in the grip. If your hand fits it, you're good. If it doesn't, you feel it immediately. It doesn't hide that from you. But here's the thing. It never felt like a backup gun, never felt like something I settle for. It felt like a small pistol that still wanted to be taken seriously. The question is, does it fit your hand as well as it fits your day? And what came after this went the other direction completely. I kept wanting the Glock 43X MOS to feel outdated, but every time I actually set one up for carry, it kept making sense. And that bothered me more than it should have, because on paper, it loses. Newer guns have more capacity, more features, more everything. They look better, sound better, and honestly, they're more interesting. The 43X isn't. It's simple, almost boring. I tried to move past it, looked at other options, convinced myself there were better choices now, but every time it came down to actually carrying, holster, optic, mags, just putting the thing on and walking out the door, the Glock kept winning the parts that don't show up on a spec sheet. Everything around it was easy, no figuring things out, no fighting the setup, no second guessing if it's going to work with what you already have. And it never gave me a reason to question it either. It just fits into your routine. Because, yeah, the capacity doesn't feel impressive anymore. Nothing about it feels new. But it doesn't win because it does something special. It wins because nothing about it gets in your way. I don't get excited carrying it. I just end up carrying it anyway. And what came after this finally fixed that part. I didn't trust myself when I picked this one up. I almost didn't take the SIG P365 X Macro. Standing there, looking at it, it felt like too much for the day. Bigger grip, more gun than I really needed. The smaller option was right there. Easier choice, no thinking. This one felt like a commitment. I picked it anyway, not because I was sure, more like I didn't want to baby myself into another easy carry. And I expected to feel it later. Thought it'd start getting annoying, something I'd regret halfway through. It didn't hit like that. It wasn't invisible. You knew it was there, but it didn't fight you the way guns this size usually do. It carried better than it had any right to, but that's not what stuck with me. What stuck was when I thought about actually using it. Grip, control, capacity, everything felt more settled, less compromise. Like I wasn't working around the gun anymore. That's where it flips. Because usually when you go bigger for carry, you pay for it all day. With this, you feel the size a little, but you get something real back for it. More control, more confidence, more rounds without pushing into full-size territory. It's not the easiest to carry, but it's one of the few that makes that extra size actually worth it. And once you get used to that, going smaller starts to feel like giving something up. I didn't want to put the Taurus G3C on this list. That already tells you where this starts. I've had one jam on me before, so going into this one, there was no excitement, just doubt. I bought it for one reason: it was cheap. I needed something I could afford without stepping into Shield Plus or Glock money. The size made sense for carry, but I wasn't expecting much beyond that. Honestly, I figured I'd run it a bit and then get rid of it, but it kept running. Range time, carry days, cheap ammo, the kind of use where problems usually show up, and it didn't. I kept waiting for it. That moment where something proves me right. It never really came, and that's what changed things. Not because it impressed me, it didn't, but it stopped giving me reasons to doubt it every time I used it. For what it costs, you're getting usable size, decent capacity, and a grip that doesn't feel like a toy. It's not refined. It's not something you admire, but for the right budget buyer, it works enough to matter. But I'm not going to lie to you. This is not a blind trust gun. If your G3C doesn't prove itself through real use, it doesn't belong on your belt. For the people willing to test it, this one can make sense, but only after it earns that spot. And then came the one that's going to make people argue in the comments. Honestly, I got tired of standing there early morning in front of the safe with too many choices. Too many better guns. Bigger, newer, more impressive. And somehow, I kept reaching for the same one. The Shield Plus didn't win in a single moment. No range day, no surprise. It happened slower than that, a few normal days. I kept expecting it to start bothering me. Driving, sitting, moving around. It's waiting for that point where I'd notice it, adjust it, get annoyed enough to switch again. It never really showed up. And when I did take it to the range, it didn't feel like I gave anything up to carry it. It shot like a real gun, not some compromise I had to accept. That's where it clicked. All those other pistols, they look better, feel better in the hand at the counter, give you reasons to want them, but they don't always survive the day. This one does. And after a while, the argument just stopped, because it came down to one question I couldn't ignore anymore. Do I want the gun that impresses me, or the one I actually carry without getting tired of it? The Shield Plus isn't exciting. Some people will want a bigger grip, an optic-ready setup, something newer. I get that, but this is the one I kept coming back to, and eventually, I stopped looking. So that's the line I keep coming back to. The best carry pistol isn't the one that looks good on paper, it's the one you don't take off halfway through the day. Every gun on this list has something that'll get under your skin. A little too thick, a little too snappy, a little harder to hide than you expected. None of them are perfect. They're just the ones that held up when real life got involved. Long hours, constant movement, being around people. So now I'm curious, what are you actually carrying every day? And what's the one you stopped carrying? Even though you thought it was the one? Because most bad carry choices don't fail out there. They fail quietly when you leave them behind. I'm Steve. And yeah, I still catch myself checking my shirt more than I should.